What does everyday life in a real Vietnamese village actually look like? Do people here still grow their own food, raise chickens, and catch fish for their daily meals? Or has modern life changed everything? Well, this is my hometown, a small village in northern Vietnam where I was born and raised. Today I'm taking you with me to experience an ordinary day back home, from freshly milled rice to fish caught just a few moments before lunch. Everything you're about to see is part of everyday life here. Let's spend the day together and discover how a simple family meal comes to life. The day here starts pretty early. By the time I step outside, my parents are already busy. This morning, they're pulling several bags of harvested rice toward the mobile rice mill parked right outside our house. Our house sits along the main road that runs through the village, so whenever the rice mill comes by, people in the neighborhood don't have to carry their rice very far. The machine removes the husks and turns the harvested rice into the white grains we eat every day. Many families here still store their rice as unhusked grain and mill only what they need. It may look like a lot of work, but for my parents, this is completely normal. Instead of buying bags of packaged rice from a supermarket, the rice on our table often begins right here, beside the road in front of our home. Honestly, you really can't get much closer to the source than that.
Bia để lạnh sẵn rồi. Kéo về nhá. Có xe đấy. Để tí cô cho ta kéo.
Back at home, the morning continues with the familiar sounds of everyday life. My dad is sitting in the yard, chopping fresh vegetables for the chickens. He does this almost every morning. The vegetables don't need to be cut perfectly. After all, the chickens don't really care what they look like. Right beside him, my mom is cleaning the rice we just brought back from the mill. She uses a traditional bamboo tray to remove the small pieces of husk and any bits still mixed in with the rice. It may look simple, but she has been doing this for many years, so every movement is quick and natural. After putting the rice away, she sweeps the yard and prepares food for the chickens. As soon as they hear her footsteps, the whole flock comes running. Within seconds, the quiet yard suddenly becomes noisy and full of movement. These are just ordinary morning routines for my parents. There is no fixed schedule and no need to rush. They simply move from one small task to the next, taking care of the house and the animals as they have always done. Life here seems to follow its own rhythm. It is slow, simple, and sometimes a little repetitive. But when I come back after spending so much time in the city, these ordinary moments are often the ones that feel the most peaceful. After finishing the morning chores, my mom and I ride to our family garden. It's only about 500 meters from the house, but this short road has always felt special to me. To get there, we have to cross a small bridge over the river. It may not look like much, but this bridge has been part of my life since I was a child. I crossed this bridge almost every day when I was young. I followed my parents to the fields, played with my friends, and sometimes stopped to watch the river below. The bridge is still here, and the river still flows quietly beneath it. Every time I come back, this familiar view reminds me that I am truly home. Down by the river, I notice an elderly fisherman casting his net. It looks like today is a lucky day because there are already quite a few fish and freshwater shrimp in his basket. I stop for a moment to say hello. After pulling in the net, he takes the fish back home and starts cleaning them in his family's simple rustic kitchen. Everything happens very naturally. I was simply passing by, and he happened to be there doing what he does almost every day. Honestly, moments like this are what I enjoy most whenever I come home. You never know who you will meet or what small story you might come across along the way. Just a little farther down the road, another surprise is waiting for us. My neighbor's family is harvesting fish from their pond today.
Ui giời, ui, nhiều
The
lắm.
pond is full
Nhấc
of
kéo thẳng
fish.
riêng.
Several people are already standing by the water, pulling in the nets and sorting the fish into large baskets. Some local traders have already arrived. They buy the fish right here before taking them to nearby markets to sell later in the day. Around here, this is how things usually work. The fish don't have to travel very far, and they're sold just a few hours after being caught. That's one of the things I like most about living in the countryside. Fresh food often goes straight from the pond to the market with almost no time in between.
Vứt mẹ ở đây, cậy mẹ nó. Mày ấy mày bố mày.
Con này là em mang về.
And finally, we've arrived at our family garden. Years ago, this land used to be rice fields owned by my grandparents. Later, my parents turned it into a garden. Little by little, it became what you see today. My parents planted vegetables, flowers, and several kinds of fruit trees. We have banana trees, pomelo trees, and custard apple trees growing in different parts of the garden. They also dug a few small canals to raise fish. The garden is a little overgrown now. The grass has grown thick around the fruit trees and along the small canals. It looks like my parents haven't cleared the grass for quite some time. The flowers, vegetables, fruit trees, fish, and even the wild grass all seem to grow together. It may not look perfectly organized, but for my family, this garden provides fresh food throughout the year. Lunch today is going to start right here in our family garden. The first thing I need is some fresh vegetables. So I grab a basket and pick whatever is ready. Around here, we don't really plan what to cook first. We simply see what's growing in the garden. And that's usually where lunch begins. Now comes the fun part. Right beside the garden is a small canal where my parents raise fish. If I can catch one today, we'll have everything we need for lunch. I was a little nervous when I first stepped into the mud. It had been a long time since I last waded through muddy water like this. At first, I only wanted to give it a try, but the mud was much deeper than I expected, and before I knew it, my feet were sinking lower and lower into the water. Well, since my clothes were already wet, I figured I might as well keep going and try to catch some fish. I kept scooping with the basket, but for a long time, I couldn't catch anything. Every time I thought there might be a fish inside, the basket came up almost empty. After a few more tries, I finally caught a fish. It wasn't very big, but it was enough to keep me going. I also found a few freshwater snails hiding in the mud. I kept scooping several more times because I wanted to catch enough fish for lunch. Little by little, the basket started to fill up. Together with the fresh mustard greens from the garden, this will be enough for a bowl of crucian carp soup with sweet greens. It's a very simple countryside dish, but it's also one of the meals I remember most from my childhood. Back home, it's finally time to cook lunch. Today, we're making a simple soup with crucian carp and mustard greens. It's one of the traditional dishes many families in northern Vietnam have been eating for generations. And of course, we're cooking on my mom's wood-burning stove. For generations of Vietnamese farming families, this has always been the heart of the kitchen. The first step is to clean the fish, remove the scales and the inside, then boil it with a few slices of fresh ginger. The ginger helps remove the fishy smell and gives the soup a gentle aroma. Once the fish is cooked, I carefully separate the meat from the bones. Back in the old days, nothing was wasted. The fish bones are pounded in a mortar, then mixed with water and strained to make a naturally sweet broth. While that's cooking, I wash the mustard greens and chop them into small pieces. When the broth comes to a boil, I add the vegetables and the fish back into the pot. Finally, I season it with fish sauce and a little salt. That's it. Around here, meals don't need to be complicated. Fresh ingredients are usually enough. Today's lunch is a perfect example. The fish came from our canal this morning. The vegetables were picked just a little while ago in the garden. Everything on this table came from the same piece of land that has fed my family for so many years. Maybe that's why every time I come home, it's not the big celebrations I remember the most. Perhaps it's meals like this, simple, familiar, and shared with the people who have always been here. Thank you so much for spending the day with me. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a comment and let me know what everyday life is like where you live. I'd love to read your stories. See you in the next video.